This week's looking interesting for the divine masculine, and we are going to look at what is going on with them and what you as a cross watcher need to know. If you do want to visit our website, we do have a newsletter coming through for 2026, as well as if you don't know who I am, I'm your host, Yildiz from Yildiz Readings. I'm a psychic medium, a twin flame. I cover the intuitive astrology, and there will be more content coming early 2026. So if you want that, come through and join us. Now, if you haven't visited the website or signed up for our membership, do so, because we do have some dynamic offers that are coming, and it is going to aid you in transitioning through into 2026 through to 2028. It's really going to be your go-to tool to actually get into the vortex, have the information and resources and the sense of community for that support. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go through. Otherwise, we're going to jump straight into the read. And, I really do see the divine masculine this week, A, going through it, but B, having a lot of revelations. Moving into the silly season, as well as what is going on, in the world, this is a time I feel you are very strongly on their mind. And we see this from the crowning energy. We do see the masculine really thinking about you and them together, how it connects. They've got you on their mind. And, when we do look at the overall read, the first thing I was getting is, well, this person's really going through it. In the heart space, in the what do I do moving forward? How do I gain, how do I get my emotions intact here? But there's a deep revelation that you are part of the story here, that somehow through their life, you have been part of that story. You may have been a person in their life that actually did turn their world upside down. And, they're looking back at the past version of themselves, and that they did feel, in a way, you have gone through a similar thing to them, in that they do want to be that hero of the story. They do want to be the masculine for you. They want to gain a handle on their emotions, and they feel that you have made a lot of sacrifices in this connection. They have had a lot on their plate and a lot pulling at them, but I do feel that they're in that fire energy, and this is moving forward, moving on up, pouring their energy into their passion, pouring their energy into what they can do within their power. And they had been working really hard on this heart chakra here. That was one of the messages that I was getting very strongly. Being the hero of the story sometimes means that they need to have a sense of self. Now, as we look to the most recent past, the two messages I was getting was, A, they were thinking about the divine feminine, how a lot of the focus had been on the divine masculine, and they found themselves through that process, through having to shift their energy back onto themselves. And they're actually taking a note out of the divine feminine's book and saying, well, hang on a minute. A, this person has made a lot of sacrifices for me. G, we're quite common in that way. Their sacrifices potentially were to people, places, and things that didn't necessarily aid them, but it has theoretically, if that makes sense. And sometimes I'm getting the term, one of the things, it's like I'm noticing the birds kind of flying around the person's head, and it's like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. This Mercury energy that we have just moved away from was pretty full on. And, I feel them looking back to the most recent past of going, wow, I've had a lot of revelations here to do with sacrifices, to do with, where people are taking them away from their own energy, and how for a time they did need to go into hermit mode. If they were in the connection, they were doing this internally. So it was almost like they were, going quiet at times, maybe getting stroppy, maybe not expressing themselves effectively. In the heart space, they're feeling they do have that vortex now. They're kind of in that vortex. They're moving forward. They're looking at what they need to do to pull their emotions in so that they can actually start moving this shit forward. Now, for many of us, part of that is baby steps relating to clearing the past, being in the here and now and attempting to do such in a 3D manner. I think if we exert too much of our masculine energy, it's going to frustrate us. But if we can do the back end work of life, we're almost setting that physical foundation up. And I feel being that this can be an emotional time of the year, the one thing I want you to quite focus on, especially for those of you cross-watching, which I'm sure it's going to come through in your read, so stay tuned for that, is that look at the bigger point of this, okay? This connection, is something that they're very much focused on. So although whatever it is they're dealing with, you are center stage in this equation, divine feminine. However, they're also realizing the work and the energy that is required in dealing with things of the past, of getting their life back on track so that they can be present in that very ascended state. And we do notice a lot of blue coming through on these cards. So the energy, for some of us, it can be that our energy isn't completely there, but it's not completely eliminated either. The forward momentum is tackling the tasks at hand to get to the other side of that tunnel to get to you. That's what I'm physically seeing for this. Now, there can be some communication that is going to come through. And it's funny because, at the foundation, honestly, this was really amusing to me. It was like no question in their mind, straight down the middle row. You look at the overall, from the top to the heart to the base. They literally feel there is no choice there. This is the path for them. Acknowledging it, honoring it, feeling the passion associated to it. They actually feel that when they're with you, their life does become better. When they run away from it, it becomes worse. And so to a degree, they feel it's futile. And I remember a process I went through in my ascension, where I had this revelation, okay, whatever universe is trying to show me, obviously, this is where I need to be. This is what I need to do. I need to, learn not to run, learn to turn into it, learn to communicate. And although, many times, divine feminine, you guys do feel frustrated by the communication, which is completely warranted. You, within your own context of your path, will find a unique way to find ways to deal with the challenging communication. And 9 times out of 10, when we listen, we hear more. And I see this person with their outcome card, again, getting into alignment. Dealing with subjects to do with family. Although, letting that serpent actually be their power, maybe even talking about it. I'm noticing the throat chakra is super extended at this point in time, but they're doing this in a very wise manner. Wherever this is taking them, it is going to ascend to them. So don't fret too much in the context, regardless of whether you're a wave 1 or wave 3. I don't want you to worry about the ability for reunion to be so, because we are between now and mid-2026 exiting the North Node in Pisces and moving into a different nodal phase. You are going to find this accelerates and moves quicker. So sometimes in the context, we look at it and go, okay, where's this connection? What we need to understand, if we can work with the the transits are working on us. Let's be perfectly honest. We can work with the transits by having the wisdom and the portal of where it's opening. Part of the conflict we may have, and part of the solution, could be who we affiliate ourselves with. Do we mix with high vibration people? Do we mix with low vibration? To a point in your journey, I feel the divine masculine is looking at the polarity of both. And many times we will be kind of in a hermit mode. And then after, have the tools, maybe completely eliminate toxic individuals in our life. And then reintroduce people point blank zero generally, so that we have completely closed out that karmic loop. And what does that mean? Sometimes people can come back into our life that are karmic in nature, but we have the tools to be able to deal with them. Other times, certain karmics cannot come back into the circle. And this is a point that the divine masculine is both unpacking, navigating, and realizing what takes them away from themselves and what brings them back. And they're learning a great deal of grace through the divine feminine of how that's done. Now we're going to go into clarifying because I feel they want to say more. But they've got very strong feelings happening for you. Yeah, that they see you in their future. They're moving forward. They're frustrated by this kind of backwards motion. They want forward movement now also. And I'm also getting this storyline where I just keep hearing it's time to deal. It's time to deal. They're getting on with it. They're dealing with these old patterns, and they're like looking at the patterns and go, okay, this is no time to play. This is time to batten down the hatches and get some things done. This is time to address the obstacles in my life. The big wake-up call has been what they want to fight for, and it's how they really feel for you. And something has shifted this quite radically. I do feel that pause that they were having in expressing, in dealing, has been because of the retrogrades, and it does appear to be now because of where they stand. They're reevaluating how they go about that in a very logical, rational manner, and I'm not going to lose my crap. I'm addressing this like an adult. I need to reevaluate how I move forward, but I need to do it now. Now, they do feel these waters do run extremely deep with you. They also know those that have actually used manipulation. This can be in tribe and family, but they see the difference. They do feel that certain people, they know very well how they operate, and that they can be quite self-centered. And there's something to learn of that. Not necessarily in a narcissistic way, but more a healthy way. And that they had really been giving their power away to individuals that were not deserving. Okay, who is this person that's crossing the situation, please? What is this area and who is this person? Could be people. Yeah, this is somebody who knows how to manipulate. And they also know that that's permission-based. And what do I mean by that? It's almost like they're referencing the point that because they know this individual/individuals know how they operate, by running and hiding, it's actually saying to this person that they've actually won. So now they're looking at it from a different angle. They may have needed some space. They may have walked away from people that were doing that. But that was only temporary because, like I said, in that ascension process, and the cards are really confirming it, it's like, if they are feeling that they addressed it by walking away, now they're realizing they're addressing it in a different way, in a physical way. Okay? And this isn't about winning. This isn't about winning. And what do I mean by that? They're psychically showing me there is a lesson involved in this that's going to set them up for life. And this lesson doesn't have to be a nasty one. I feel it's something they're already been learning. And I feel it's that implementation stage. Recovering, having some, okay, what are they going to be viewing? They're saying that what they're going to view is not what they think it's going to be. And I feel like, if they are dealing with anything of the past, they're looking back at it, but they're looking at it with fresh eyes. It's not quite what they expected. And it's almost like there's this emotional disconnect. It's like it's not part of their life story. It's very foreign to them. Yeah. I'm hearing the term unforgiven, but not towards them, towards the situation. Okay, moving forward. Yeah, okay, wow. It's really weird. It's like they're turning around, they're addressing it. The elephant in the room, they're looking at it. The response, the reality, the outcome is different to what they expected. They're moving forward and they're looking back in at divine feminine, and it's like, this is where I'm meant to be. Something big is about to go down. And whatever this is, it's disconnecting that of what they don't love, that of what is not meant for them, that of what is taking from them, to move them to this higher degree for you and the connection. If you haven't subscribed, we'd love to have you. Click the bell so you get updated, and don't forget to come through and look at all of our links directly below the video. That is for both our network and for our membership landing page if you want to know more. We do have a sign up. We are open very soon. And by signing up, you will get that added support over the next 3 years and beyond as we build out the tools to actually help you navigate through 2026 and beyond, as it is going to be quite a transformative and challenging year. Otherwise, tell us how your divine feminine read came through and cross-reference between the 3 videos we do weekly. Take care.